So we're in Isaiah 58, going to go down to verse 10. And you will grant to the hungry one your own soulful desire, and you will satisfy the soul that is being afflicted. Your light also will certainly flash up even in the darkness, and your gloom will be like midday. Now we're in Leviticus, and we're going to read 9 through 10. And when you people reap the harvest of your land, you must not reap the edge of your field completely, and the gleaning of your harvest you must not pick up. Also, you must not gather the leftovers of your vineyard, and you must not pick up the scattered grapes of your vineyard. For the afflicted one and the alien resident, you should leave them. I am Jehovah, your God. Exodus chapter 23, going to go down to verse 11. But the 7th year you are to leave it uncultivated, and you must let it lie fallow. And the poor ones of your people must eat of it, and what is left over by them the wild beasts of the field are to eat. That is the way you are to do with your vineyard and your olive grove. Now we are in Job 31. We're going to go through 16 to 20. If I used to hold back the lowly ones from their delight, and the eyes of the widow I would cause to fail, and I used to eat my morsel by myself, while the fatherless boy did not eat from it. For from my youth he grew up with me as with a father, and from the belly of my mother I kept leading her. If I used to see any perishing from having no garment, or that the poor one had no covering, if his loins did not bless me, nor from the shorn wool of my young rams he would warm himself, if I waved my hand to and fro against the fatherless boy, when I would see need of my assistance in the gate, let my own shoulder blade fall from its shoulder, and let my own arm be broken from its upper bone. So it kind of went from to 22, but I like the section on Job. I like Job a lot. Luke 11. In reply, he would say to them, let the man that has 2 undergarments share with the man that has none, and let him that has things to eat do the same. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope you're doing well. So, we have another Megatardian Christian Zio show. Not being very trad. Not really practicing Christian values. Mike Davis writes, we should only help people who can't help themselves. So, remember, they say, we have Christian values and all that. But a lot of the secular liberal atheists have popular feminists who push the idea that a daycare can do the job of a mom. Breastfeeding isn't necessary or important, and you can just pump that kid full of formula and get that lady back to work as soon as possible. Whereas, if you're more spiritual minded, you recognize that a baby being with its mother for the first 2 years is vital and important. Yes, she technically is able-bodied and could work, but then she's paying someone else to raise her kid so that she can afford food for the other children. In a religious society, you'd recognize the fact that, okay, obviously these moms are going to have less income, so let's help them get food for the other children so she can stay home and breastfeed her baby and live out a trad lifestyle. And there is something called the working poor. Not everyone's going to be rich. That's not possible. And there will be people who don't make enough money and will need a leg up. And for us Muslims at least, feeding the needy and clothing the needy can expiate you from broken oaths and sins. Help you to get your sins forgiven. And this is common throughout the book I've been reading, The Concise Presentation of Fiqh. And when you look at how much we are told, all right, you did this, so you have to go feed some poor. You broke your fast during Ramadan with intercourse, you have to fast. Like, there's all this stuff about fasting, feeding the poor, and making sure your heart isn't hard, right? So that should be noted that in Islam, we don't shame and hate the poor. He writes, it's outrageous that 40 million people get food stamps. So, who is in charge of the economy right now? It's Senor Donald Trumpo. It's him, isn't it? Okay, why not go after the greedy corporations that don't pay a good wage? Oh, that's communism, that's socialism. Now you sound like Bernie Sanders. What if you lower the taxes on Americans and just stop funding all these wars and allow zoning laws for people to put gardens in their front yard? Remember, there are communities in America that will not let you have anything in your front yard except useless green grass. The homeowners associations. That's a real thing. Think about it. I shared on my blog a vintage ad where Americans were told to have a backyard chicken coop. A chicken can provide you with so many eggs, and it can be used as food as well. Ducks, quail, geese, and zoning laws took that away because people didn't want to deal with, the sounds of chickens and ducks, which is ridiculous in my opinion. If we can listen to car stereos, we can listen to people's televisions, ambulances, the sound of cars, the sound of the freeway, all the noises we have, I think we can handle a little bit of chicken sounds, to be quite honest. And since people are not growing food and they can't have backyard chicken coops and they're not allowed to really plant a garden in the front yard, this reduces greatly people's ability to get food. And when you think about it, we could easily, when you go on the freeway, look your left, look right, there's plenty of just barren land that has nothing growing on it. You could plant walnut trees, just different kinds of foliage to feed the needy. Where, there's an apple orchard, it's wild, it's an anarchy garden, right? An anarchical orchard. There's pears, there's cherries, they're just growing wild. Let's go up on in there and get us something to eat. Or you could even do a discount on fishing licenses to teach people how to fish. Literally in California, if you did something like that and provided a fishing rod or a special discount or something, and let people go and fish, and then made sure that the water was not as polluted, this could help feed a lot of people as well. There's so many solutions to be had besides shaming people for needing help. He writes, get off your fat ghetto asses. So, if you're not familiar with a lot of white supremacist caricatures of who uses welfare, there's phrases like welfare queen, and the word ghetto, I use it to describe behavior, and it has a historical aspect as well, where the Jays were kept before World War II popped off. It can mean, in slang terms, somebody who is uncouth. They don't really have good manners. They don't have decorum, okay? But it depends on how the word is being used. Sometimes it's referred to black people who live in Section 8 housing in the ghettos, in the hoods. And this then denotes the caricature and some stereotypes, of the welfare queens, obese welfare queens who eat fast food and don't want to have a job. Which is not accurate in all cases. Every culture, like the drunken Irishman, the Italian guy who can't stop cheating on his wife. There's people who have stereotypes like living in them, and he's using that rhetoric here in the post. He writes, get a job. So he's also ignoring how some places, man, the jobs that just don't pay enough. And this is the paradox of the American lifestyle. More and more people are recognizing that you can work 40 plus hours a week and still struggle to pay rent, your healthcare premium, your car insurance, and everything else that stacks up in life, and you're gonna need a leg up. Remember, this guy is a Zio, so he supports millions for a genocidal regime, but is pissed off that somebody's getting a little bit of macaroni and cheese boxed. Somebody's getting a bag of rice. Somebody's getting some cans of Progresso soup. Campbell's cream of mushroom soup. You see what I'm saying? He's just pissy about poor people not being able to provide enough for their families. And ironically, America is strong because of its military, and a lot of poor people fill up the ranks of the military, and rich people do not want their kids doing lists, and when their kids do, it's more of a showcase performative angle. Kind of like when Prince Harry was in the military, everyone knows he's not gonna, his security detail is just not gonna let him get blasted. It's just performative. And he says, stop reproducing. Mind you, Is Not Real has universal health care. A lot of welfare options for people. They take care of their own. So this Christian isn't saying be fruitful and multiply. He's ignoring all of the verses in the Bible that talk about helping the needy and poor. And he is literally saying have sterile intimacy and abortion. So when you say stop reproducing, abortions, because she's going to get pregnant, you're saying you don't have a right to intimacy, or you're saying you can have intimacy but you need to have a vasectomy or birth control. The Catholic Church historically is against birth control. And when you're married, the whole point is to not be sterile. It's to be fertile and appreciate when your wife's womb blossoms with a baby, and you are to come together as a community and celebrate life, help each other. If you look at pregnancy centers that are religious, they're like, don't abort your kid, don't, despair, we're gonna help you. So notice that this guy is telling poor people, if you need food, you don't deserve to have children. So he's basically not realizing how America would literally collapse if poor people didn't have children. If everyone who needed food stamps didn't have kids, look at let's say for these 40 million people. If 40 million people decided no more kids, the hegemonic power that America has by being a military-based empire would collapse. America is already secretly bringing in so many Latinos to actually boost up the immigration rates, but then Trump's deporting them. Whereas in 2023, over 1 million women decided to abort their babies, and people are saying that there's a population collapse coming, and the population is not above replacement rate. So 1 minute, have children. Why aren't women having children? Women owe the empire babies. And the next minute, you must be a fat loser because you need help with food. And let's remember how many chemicals are in the food, how many people are on prescriptions that also harm their bodies, that have side effects. One of my dearest friend's mom is bipolar. Her bipolar medication caused her to stop producing saliva, like a cottonmouth. They call it cottonmouth, and this caused tooth decay, and she had to have all her teeth removed. Same with my mom. My mom has dentures. She's on bipolar medication as well. The medication she's on, it causes this tooth decay, and they gotta take all your teeth out. So that's crazy, that there are prescription drugs out there that you take it for one thing and it causes other problems in your body. So when we're seeing people consuming mass amounts of processed cheap foods, genetically engineered, filled with pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, cancer-causing chemicals, food additives, you name it, it's going to wreck people's gut biome. And doctors are more about sick care, not holistic preventative care. We do really good trauma care in America. We're like surgeries, but we don't do preventative medicine here very well. Okay? The fact that high fructose corn syrup is still in so many products is shameful. Alright? So sometimes people are fat because of the medication they live on, and some places just don't have gyms. And some people have trauma and they eat too much and they need mental health services to get themselves strong again, but they don't have access to that. So obesity is a gluttonous problem, but at the same time, there's other factors. And then he writes, stop giving food stamps to immigrants. Wow. The Bible, if you look up the verses, there's over 50. There's many that talk about helping the resident alien. So the foreigner, the traveler, the wayfarer, the newcomer. He's like, no. I mean, heinous cruelty. But that's how those MAGA Christians really are. I've often mentioned they're one of the most pernicious, sick cults of Christianity. And then he says, we don't want you here if you won't work. So, wow. Pretty intense. And then here's his post. That proves he's a Zio. It is not real's opponents are America's opponents, he says. So, yeah, lots of money for war, baby. But somebody needs some cans of soup, some box hamburger helper, some Kraft macaroni and cheese. No, nothing for you. And then this is his profile here, and he's followed by that Libs of TikTok, Zio Chaya Rashik, and that Lily Gaddis. So, a lot of weirdos, alright? A heartless Christian with a lot of followers. A white man. It's fascinating how much the Magatardian Christians who cozy up to the white supremacists don't have any mercy for the poor. Horrendous.